Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Inside Track, EchoBase's weekly handicapping podcast, sponsored by FanDuel Racing, where we get our analysis, picks, and wagers for a couple of the weekend's top races. Be sure to download that FanDuel app and bet now on FanDuel Racing. I'm your host, Ben Kudla, and today I welcome back Ryan Anderson on the show, host of the Gallop Out podcast, as well as the Saturday Show, live every Saturday on America's Best Racing. Today, we are tackling an all-stakes pick 3 at Churchill Downs this Saturday. Ryan, so great to have you on the show. Always so much fun talking horses with you. I think you're a tremendous handicapper and excited to see what you came up with for this pick 3 at Churchill. And I've also really been enjoying your Saturday show on ABR. So if you could just tell the public, we all want to know, where and when can fans tune into this wonderful show?
Yeah, thanks for having me back, Ben. Always a treat to be to join you on the Inside Track here. Yeah, no surprise, you can find the Saturday show presented by ABR on Saturday. We start noon Pacific. It's going to be YouTube, X, Facebook, all of America's Best Racing socials. We're going to be covering live racing. Looks like Monmouth, Santa Anita, maybe even Woodbine for their nice card with a handful of graded stakes going on for this weekend. That's going to go live 12 noon Pacific or 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm looking forward to it. We'll go for probably like 4 hours as we typically do. We typically wrap midway through the late pick 5 at Santa Anita. We just kind of play it by ear. We see how we're feeling. I know Nisos is running out on the West Coast, so I feel confident saying maybe that's our last race that we'll cover, because that's obviously a huge name and a nice little stakes field that we got going. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's always fun getting on the screen with Jackson, talking races, even calling a few of them when I need to.
Love that. That's cool. Nisos is running back, and I guess banishing if he doesn't go in the Met Mile. But what a Churchill Downs Stakes prep that was going into this weekend. But please check out the Saturday show on americasbestracing.net, as well as their social media. Also, EchoBase will be also promoting them as well. But let's just move on. So it was a relatively quiet week last week in North American horse racing world. Only one graded stakes race all week through Sunday, but the Memorial Day cards did not disappoint with loads of stakes action across the country. King of Gosford with a dramatic win in the Grade 1 Shoemaker Mile Stakes at Santa Anita. Safi and Irad with 2 graded stakes wins on Monday, and Cali winning the Grade 1 Gamely Stakes with Be Your Best, who became a millionaire after that win, and the Grade 2 Hollywood Gold Cup with fan favorite Skippy Longstocking. That was his 9th career graded stakes victory. What a beast. But Lone Star Park also had quite the day as well. A Memorial Day with 6 stakes races on the card. Instant Replay earned his 3rd win of the year, taking the $300,000 Texas Derby by a length, with Luis Saez aboard for owner and trainer Brad Cox. Kind of interesting. Along with 2 graded stakes wins at Santa Anita, Safi also won the Memorial Day Sprint Stakes at Lone Star with Mystic Lake. Churchill Downs also was in on the action with the Grade 3 winning colors. 2 Sharp, set in fractions of 21.14 and 43.99 for the half. Still drew away to win by 3.5 lengths. So fantastic week of racing and a huge day on Saturday in North America, with the Belmont Stakes coming up in a little over a week next Saturday, June 7th at Saratoga. But there are 5 graded stakes races on the card this Saturday. Ryan and I each put together an all stakes $1 pick 3 together with a $20 maximum bet for the Grade 3 Arlington Stakes, Grade 3 Blame Stakes, and the Grade 3 Regret Stakes. But before we dive in, the first leg of the pick 3, the end of the Triple Crown season is approaching fast, but there's still time to get in on some fantastic deals on echobase.com. Now through June 8th, get a quarterly Raceland subscription or a quarterly premium past performance subscription for just $99. Use those promo codes down below at checkout to cash in on some big savings. So let's move on to some handicapping. Best time of the day, the Grade 3 Arlington Stakes. The first leg of our all stakes pick 3, mile 16th on the turf for 4-year-olds and up. Last year's winner was Ottoman Fleet for trainer Charlie Appleby, with Flavian Pratt aboard. Field of 9 for race 9 on the card. Fantastic betting race, also very difficult. But Ryan, who's on your ticket for the Arlington?
Yeah, real difficult sequence. You mentioned it. We have a lot of runners coming out of the Derby Day, Derby Day Stakes, namely the Grade 1 Turf Classic would be the main one up there. But You'll find some of those runners coming back in here. I went with the 2 Cameo Performance. Sorry about that. Went with the 2 Cameo Performance as well as the 4 and the 9. The 4 is Hershey for Helen Pitts, and the 9 is Brilliant Birdie for Cherie DeVoe. To start with the 2 Cameo Performance, that Muniz Memorial 2 races back was on the outside of the track and was closing, and that was not the place to be as they took the rails down that day at Fairgrounds. Last time out in the Turf Classic, just ran that exact same speed figure, ran his race, just was not good enough that day. But seeing his Spirit of St. Louis won that race, that was another runner who came off of that exact same trip in the Muniz Memorial, ran on the outside, and then finally got a better trip. So I fully believe that Cameo Performance is going to have that step up here. Third off the bench now for Brendan Walsh. 6-1 is very fair, and Ben Curtis has been riding his eyeballs out at Churchill Downs. The next one is the number 4 Hershey for Helen Pitts, Edgar Morales in the saddle this coming Saturday. This one just cleared through that second level allowance condition against 4-year-olds and upward last time out, going a mile and a 16th. First start to the 4-year-old season for this bay gelding. And, Cross entered on May 29th, so not positive that Hershey's going to show up here, but depending on what speed figures you use, I give a peek to pretty much all of them available, whether that's Equibase, DRF, or Timeform, or Buyer, rather. Looking at the Timeform, 137 is insane. That is one of the fastest speed figures you'll see, a 137, and it's been about a month since that race has gone on, and they haven't changed it, which makes me think they are confident in that number, and that's one that I'll believe. A 96 Buyer certainly fits. And then I don't have the Equibase speed figure in front of me right now, but I'm sure it's up there as well.
A 112 for that.
Exactly, a 112. So just looking at that, I mean, that race first off the bench, that was a fantastic effort. So certainly one I'm going to want back. Going to have to pass the graded stakes level for the first time, but certainly one I think is capable. And then, of course, a very logical choice as my third one in this first leg of the sequence is the number 9 Brilliant Birdie for Cherie DeVoe, Brian Hernandez. Third off the bench for this runner to start his 4-year-old season. Very respectable debut effort. And again, the Muniz Memorial, which has been a common race, kind of 2 back for a lot of these, took a little bit of a step down into the opening verse stakes, second off going the mile, but still won that race pretty nicely. Got solid speed figures in there. Now stretches back out to the mile and an eighth, undefeated at Churchill Downs. This one makes a lot of sense for a trainer in Cherie DeVoe who races her horses into shape. So I think Brilliant Birdie at 7-2 is good enough value for me to include on this ticket. So 249 to start us off.
I love it. Yeah, I'm going to guess, though, Brilliant Birdie, she's also on my ticket, but she might be bet down a little bit more than that very generous 7-2 morning line.
No doubt.
What do you think about the 8 Mercante? You didn't leave him on your ticket at all. So.
Yeah, Mercante is certainly a horse that warrants a lot of respect. It just feels like this is one where maybe we missed the wedding. Sort of a deal. So Mercante last time out just missed at 13-1 in the Turf Classic. Time before that, won the Kentucky Cup Classic at Turfway Park in another stellar effort, again at 13-1. You're only going to get 3-1 in here. While I think Mercante has a huge shot at winning off those paired up career best speed figures, I just didn't want to include this one on my ticket. It was going to take away too much equity for later on in the sequence, but certainly one that warrants a lot of respect.
Yeah, well, I mean, his last 2 starts, he was both 13-1. He showed up, but yeah, now down to a 3-1 morning line. But no, I absolutely love your Cameo Performance. Definitely love a 6-1. I also decided to go with a little bit of a value. I have the 6-9-8-5. I went a little bit deeper than Ryan here in the Arlington Stakes. I found it pretty difficult, so I'm glad we're doing a pick 3 because I don't know if I could land on a specific one I really loved. But I went with the 6 as my top play, Call Protection, with a morning line of 8-1. 4-year-old colt by Good Samaritan for the Mike Maker barn with Irad aboard. He's first time riding. He's winning at 22% first time riding in the last year from 861 mounts. So pretty good sample size. Not going to get a hate for that. But it's coming off a record-breaking performance, winning an allowance optional, claiming $100,000 at Churchill by 2.5 lengths, and he set the track record, going a mile and an eighth on the turf in 145.52. And then just a couple days later, that track record was broken by 0.01 seconds by She Feels Pretty on May 2nd in the Grade 3 Modesty Stakes, but it was still a record-breaking performance for Call Protection regardless. Earned a career best and best in here of a 119 Equibase speed figure. going back to last August, Call Protection, he's claimed for $75,000, an amazing claimer at Saratoga from Chad Brown and the Klarovich stable. Really excellent claim. I'm sure Klarovich was not expecting to get claimed out of a maiden claimer for $75K.
It's also not. Sorry, I was just going to say it's really rare to see. It's not rare. It's common that Chad and Klarovich drop their horses down at Saratoga in the maiden special weight to maiden claimer. They typically go that maiden 50, maiden 75. It's really rare to see them get winners for the people that claim them out of those races. So Mike Maker's done a fantastic job turning this horse around, but that's no surprise as he's a world-class trainer.
Wholeheartedly agree. But in the race that he did get claimed out of, that was his first time going on the turf. He just ran off by 6.5 lengths with Flavian Pratt aboard, going a mile and 16th. First after the claim, he runs pretty poorly in the Grade 3 Bryan Station in October of last year at Keeneland, finishing 10th to Brilliant Birdie and Hershey and Laganos, who are all entered in here. However, I think this is a different horse than what we saw in that performance at Keeneland. So after the Bryan Station, he spends the winter up at Turfway in Florence, Kentucky, and wins first time on the all-weather and allowance optional claiming 80. For the second place, fifth place, and 12th place finishers all came back to win in their next start. He earned a 97 Equibase speed figure for that effort. Finishes fourth in allowance optional claimer at Turfway. Next out to Mercante, the number 8 horse in the Arlington Stakes, who went on to win the Grade 3 Kentucky Cup Classic and finished second last time out in the Grade 1 Turf Classic, as he said. Call Protection did run fourth, but he increased his speed to a 98 Equibase speed figure. Runs the same conditions again after he lost to Mercante at a mile, and this is when this horse really starts coming into his own. Wins by 2 3/4 lengths over this. This is Oscar and Boatno, who both came back to win in their next start. And then last time out, he goes up in class and dominates with that 119 Equibase speed figure, setting the track record after he finally got back on the turf. I think Maker put him in a really nice spot here. 4 increasing Equibase speed figures coming in here. Has the highest late pace rating in here of a 117. So I did some digging, a little race lens angle action. Across all North American tracks in the past year, horses and turf routes, the highest late pace rating and the highest Equibase speed figure in the race went at 23% from 3,157 starts. So Maker and Irad winning at 31% in the past 3 years in graded stakes together. Just 4 wins from 13 starts. Take it as you will. Definitely will be a big step up. But this 8-1 morning line, I think could get even better. Might even get 10-1 on them. So 1 for 1 at Churchill, 1 for 1 at this distance as well. So I'm happy with that 8-1.
I like Call Protection for sure. Irad's always dangerous.
Oh, so dangerous. So dangerous. Gosh, last week, including Memorial Day, he won a 35% clip.
Yeah.
Just crazy. Yeah, him and Pratt are really dueling. I think they're the only 2 jockeys right now in the U.S. with 12 million in earnings this year. So
yeah, I mean they're 1-2 and they're going at it. And Pratt's the reigning Eclipse Award winner, and I know Irad wants that title back this year.
Oh yeah, definitely. But underneath, I had to add in Brilliant Birdie there. Like you said, 4 for 4 at Churchill's. You got to add her in. And 2 for 3 at this distance. Sherry DeVoe, like you said, trains him well. I got Brian Hernandez Jr. aboard at his home of Churchill. I had a fantastic comeback race last time out, winning that opening verse. Kentucky Oaks Day at Churchill, beating Laganos to 5. Then 2 starts back, I had a pretty poor performance in the Grade 2 Muniz, finishing 8th and was just not a factor. And going into the Muniz Memorial, she had 2 consecutive stakes wins, winning the Gunrunner Stakes, Kentucky Downs, and the Grade 3 Bryan Stakes. This horse just loves to win, though. Especially loves to win at Churchill. Like I said, just got to add him in there. But I also thought the 5 Laganos was a little interesting at 9-2. Bit of tough to figure on paper, but you could run a huge race. Trained by Steve Asmussen with Flavian Pratt aboard, always dangerous. Finished second to Brilliant Birdie last time out in that opening verse. He's a versatile horse. Stakes wins both on turf and dirt. And going back to November of last year, Laganos won the Grade 3 Commonwealth Turf, going at Churchill, going a mile and 16th on the turf, earning a 102 Equibase speed figure. Heads down New Orleans for the winner at Fairgrounds and wins the Woodchopper Stakes on a sloppy main track. And then runs a disappointing 3rd in an allowance race, which really put me off him. But he came back pretty well in the opening verse. 6 for 9 in the money at this mile and 16th distance on the turf. 4 for 5 in the money at Churchill. I don't think he'll win, but I'm definitely gonna add him in there just in case. I also added the 8 Mercante in there. It just seems like a horse that really coming into his own as well, and just really interesting. I'm just gonna add him in there. Just back on turf. He's just a beast on turf, I think. So And
Yeah.
Joseph Ramos has been very, very hot. I don't know if you know the story about this guy, but basically a year ago at this time, he was like in a hospital, like the near fatal motorcycle accident, brain bleed. And then now in this year, he gets his first ever Derby mount. And then he actually had 3 wins yesterday from 7 starts at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. He's just 25. So good for that kid. So I'm going to add Mercante in there.
Great story in racing to be that young, to go through something like that, to come back and get the business. Because as we know, jockeys aren't, they're not under contract for anything. They really have to kind of go out there and get their business themselves. So for him to come back from something like that and to ride the way he has, it's awesome to see. So obviously, wish him the best. Mercante certainly a big threat on Saturday.
Very well put. Very well put. Well, for Ryan's first leg, he is going with 249. And for my first leg, I'm 6985. So let's move on to the 10th race, the Grade 3 Blame Stakes, the second leg of our All Stakes Pick 3 at Churchill, 1.125 on the dirt for 4-year-olds and up. Last year's winner was Highland Falls for trainer Brad Cox with Florent Giroux aboard. Highland Falls went on to win the Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup Stakes before his bid in last year's Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Classic. Very competitive field of 10 on Saturday. 2024 Kentucky Derby Mystic Dan trying to find the winner's circle again. In another very difficult handicapping race. Ryan, is Mystic Dan on your ticket at all?
He is not on my ticket. I'm going 3-8 here. The 3 Antiquarian is my favorite long shot probably of the sequence. This one's 15-1 on the morning line, trained by Todd Pletcher, ridden by Johnny V. This one had a comeback effort last time out at Gulfstream Park, going 7 furlongs off of a pretty substantial layoff last running in the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga of June of 2024. Came back really nicely, got the job done. Shaq Diesel, who finished second, just came out this last weekend to win in a stakes race out at Gulfstream Park and won that pretty nicely. But outside of that, it's a much tougher field here that Antiquarian's facing. However, it looks like this was a relative target for this horse as he's just kind of been progressing nicely now as a 4-year-old. This son of Preservationist sold for $250,000. The stud fee is only $5,000. So they clearly saw something they liked. They've taken their time. Obviously, Derby fever gets us all. So they got him, they had to ramp him up. He ran a 6th in the Louisiana Derby, and then they kind of pivoted to the Belmont Stakes after he won the Peter Pan. Finished 5th in there, but obviously he had the likes of Dornoch, Mindframe, Sierra Leone, and some others in there. So very reasonable that he's not going to get that in just his 5th career start. Goes to the bench, comes back as a 4-year-old, runs a career best speed figure. It looks like, he's certainly on the way up and on the improve. So Antiquarian going long, second off the bench is one I want to give a really strong look to. He's going to be forward, but he also doesn't have to be on the lead. I think he has some tactical speed as well. So I'm going to trust in Johnny V to have this one placed correctly. And I think 15-1, I think you'll get every bit of that because this field is absolutely loaded. You have my other choice, the number 8 Banishing, ridden by Flavian Pratt, trained by David Jacobson. This is another ultra consistent runner in a field full of consistent runners.
This horse is.
But Banishing, every time he shows up, whether he's behind a slow pace at 6 furlongs or on a fast pace going a 2-turn mile, he runs his race every single time. So this is just the consistent horse you want. Surface does not matter. Distance doesn't seem to matter between the 6 furlongs to a mile and an eighth. He'll run wherever you tell him to run. Last time out, was kind of broke in a tangle, kind of pinched back at the beginning, was way farther off than he normally is. And he lost that race at the Churchill Downs in the Grade 1 by a neck to Mindframe, who is another monster in his own right. So for Banishing to come in here, they're going the 2 turns. Again, I think that's maybe where his best game is at this point in his career, where he just rattled off three straight 2-turn races in graded stakes company at Oaklawn Park this past winter and into the spring, never finishing worse than second, 2 seconds and a win in the Grade 3 Oaklawn Mile. And those 2 seconds were behind First Mission and Alexander Helios, who also runs in this race. I just think Banishing is the consistent runner that you want. I don't know that last race took too much out of him. I know that Banishing is kind of projected to go to the Met Mile, but I read that David Jacobson could have him here and go to the Met Mile as well just a week later. So I think it's rather likely Banishing shows up in this spot. He's going to be a top play for me as well. So 3-8 to get us through. But again, Banishing, clearly the top choice in a race where he is just ultra consistent and loves his job right now.
I'll wholeheartedly agree with Banishing, but first off, I want to say mad respect on Antiquarian. Okay, that was so hard to leave that horse out of the ticket, but I ran out of money because I went so deep in the Arlington. But yeah, that horse could be the real deal, and like you said, just always getting better. Every single start of his career has been an increasing equibase speed figure. So, absolutely love that. And yeah, Banishing, I'll get to that is by far and away my first pick. I would, if I had to, I would single him, but also at the same time, I was reading on Twitter from Marcus Hirsch on DRF that he might go to the Met Mile on Belmont Stakes Day. So that would be tough. But regardless, we had the handicap with what we've got. So I went with Banishing with a very generous morning line of 9-2. Don't think we'll get that, but just an absolute beast, a winning machine. David Jacobson barn with Flavian Pratt getting the mount. Flavian Pratt was aboard for Banishing's last win in the Grade 3 Oaklawn Mile Stakes. And here's a nice little race lens angle for you. When Pratt is reunited on a winning horse, he's won on before and did not ride in their last start. Past 4 years, he wins at a 30% clip, 37 wins from 124 starts, 64% in the money with a very slim positive 2% ROI. And less than a year ago, Banishing is running at a claiming 62.5.
That's one of yeah, I know, for Banishing to run in that, but that is the stat you just pulled on Pratt reuniting with horses he's won on. That is one of the most obscure stats, yet it has such a huge sample size that it has to be, looked at with a fair amount of merit and credit, because that's substantial for when he reunites with a horse that he's won on before. So he clearly knows the horse and he's going to ride him well.
Well, it's a great angle and something you can use on Racelens. You can get even notified for this angle, which I happen to be notified on email. But there's a lot of jockeys with this statistic that have huge numbers. And it's kind of interesting. I guess, you have a stakes winner that's in Cali and they go out to Belmont and maybe Kendrick Carmouche rides that one, and Frankie the Tories wanting the Cali, and then they come back to Cali, and Frankie's back on, and they win, and so I guess I can see that happening a lot. But
yeah,
back to
sorry, go ahead.
Going back to Banishing, it's so cool. He's in a claiming 62.5, and now he's a graded stakes winner. He's run a triple-digit equibase speed figure in his last 9 consecutive starts, and of those 9 starts, he's 5 wins in 4 seconds. Just wow. Going back to November 6th of last year, finished second by ahead of Liberal Arts, an allowance race on a sloppy Churchill track. Liberal Arts went on to win his next start by 11 3/4 lengths. Banishing earned a 1-1 equibase speed figure for that second place finish. Then wins 2 consecutive allowance races, one at Churchill, one at Oaklawn, earning a 107 and 113 equibase speed figure respectively. Gets his 3rd straight win in the Byerly Turk Overnight Stakes by 7.5 lengths. Earning a 114 equibase speed figure. Runs second by ahead, like you said, to Alexander Helios, who's entered in here in the Grade 3 Razorback. He did run a 115 equibase speed figure, so just increasing again. Comes back to run a 116 equibase speed figure, winning the Gold 3 Oakland Park Mile over Saudi Crown, who won next time out in Lake Ochita Stakes over Mystic Dan. Then heads dead heats for second, a thrilling finish in that Grade 1 Churchill Downs Stakes, finishing second by neck to Mind Frame on a 5-horse finish. That was probably the craziest finish I saw that day. But a bit of a regression in his last 3 starts, 116 to a 112 to a 104. But he is ranked first in here in average speed with a 110, first in middle pace with a 102.2. And I read some. Oh, okay, never mind. I already said that. Those are my notes. But that would be a bummer if he went in the Met Mile.
It would.
But also at the same time, it would make that Met Mile that much better, because what Mind Frame is probable fierceness,
White
Abario, just a touch.
A touch. Yeah.
That's going to be a wicked race.
It really is. And
for my underneath horse, I'm going to go with who do I got? Most Wanted. 4-year-old Candy Ride Colt out of Beach Walk for the Brad Cox barn with Florent Giroux aboard. Fun fact: this horse is a half to a 4-time Grade 1 winner and 2021 Breeders' Cup Mile winner. Life is good. That damn Beach Walk. She's had 6 foals to race. Their progeny winning at 56% in dirt routes. 14 wins from 25 starts, 17 in the money with a plus 11% ROI. I'm sure that's a little bit skewed by Life is Good, but regardless, that's from 6 different horses. So Most Wanted is no exception to the class that this mare has produced. Most Wanted has a career record of 4 wins in 3 seconds from 7 starts, ultra consistent colt, but has not found the winner's circle since last September. Started his career at Churchill in June of last year when he made his special weight and career debut, going 7 furlongs in the dirt, earning a 96 Equibase speed figure. That's very impressive. First time out. Comes back to win an allowance race at Ellis in July for winning the Ellis Park Derby by a nose, earning a 102 Equibase speed figure. Goes up in class to run the Grade 3 Oklahoma Derby, wins by a length, going a mile and an eighth on the dirt, earning a 104 Equibase speed figure. And then he starts the real test in his career. Runs second in the Grade 2 Clark Stakes to rattle and roll. Came back out to win a nice stakes race out in the Middle East. Hit Show finished third behind Most Wanted and was DQ'd to sixth, though. But he went on to win the Grade 1 Dubai World Cup. So this horse beat the Dubai World Cup winner, technically, and is entered here in a Grade 3. So after his second place finished in the Clark, he takes a little 4-month layoff, runs back in the Grade 3 Challenger Stakes at Tampa to Skippy Longstocking, who we just saw win the Grade 2 Hollywood Gold Cup Memorial Day. Last time out, he runs second to the Mighty Fierceness. So this horse has been running against the big boys and has a chance to absolutely run off here. 7-2, I also think very generous, but only 2 horses on my ticket for the second leg, Banishing and Most Wanted.
I like it. And, to the point on Most Wanted being half to Life is Good, we saw Life is Good. Obviously it was he was fantastic every time he stepped on the course, but he also kind of improved with age, and we're kind of seeing a similar thing with Most Wanted. Life's Reward, the full sibling to Life is Good, debuted at Keeneland this past spring, ran a decent second, but still ran a really strong speed figure, one to look for going forward. It seems like Beach Walk is trying to rival Puka with some of these runners there she's throwing. No, I think Most Wanted certainly deserves a really strong look. I'm curious if maybe like the Breeders' Cup Mile would be perfect for a horse like Most Wanted. I think can certainly get this distance, but looking at how the progeny have run, the mile seems to be the strongest distance, which is the only reason I didn't have Most Wanted on my ticket here, but certainly one that has a huge chance.
Yeah, I mean, all his wins were at that mile, and then he did win at a mile and eighth in the Oklahoma Derby, but it's also, the Oklahoma Derby compared to what he went on to run against. But
he knocked off EJ Won the Cup from my buddy in the O'Neill team, and they were going for they weren't going for, but it was EJ Won the Cup. He had I think he had tied the record for most amount of derbies won in a year.
Oh wow, that's
that year, and that I think would have given him the record. I might be off by one either way. So, but yeah, Most Wanted got the job done over EJ Won the Cup that day. That I remember watching that Oklahoma Derby very closely, just because I was rooting for Team O'Neill over there. But yeah, you mentioned has a win going this distance though.
Yeah, I do. Before we move on, I know we're getting a little long here, but Mystic Dan, both of us left him off our ticket. Just give a brief Cliff Note version of why.
Look, the Derby is an outlier, right? And he won the Derby. If he didn't have that, he wouldn't be 4-1 in here. I love Mystic Dan, very easy horse to root for. I will be rooting for him. If he beats me, he beats me. I'd be happy for the connections and everything that they've done to benefit racing. Obviously, last time out, that effort of the 101 Buyer speed figure, that was really strong when losing by a nose to Saudi Crown. So if he comes back and repeats that effort, certainly could put him in the winner's circle. I just thought 4-1 is a little low on a horse that really just has 3 efforts that could win when we're in a deep field of really consistent horses.
It would be cool to see him because it would break the streak of 1,500 days or so of a Derby winner not coming back to win, find the winner's circle again. But yeah, you said it perfectly. If he didn't have that Derby win on paper, it's not it. But the reason I really don't like him is a 79 to a 116 and the chance to repeat that. No way. Yeah. I just don't see it. But like you said, another good point. The connections are so great for racing. So they beat me. They beat me. So
that's right.
Anyway, so let's move on to the Grade 3 Regret Stakes, the last leg of our All Stakes Pick 3 in the 11th race at Churchill on Saturday, a mile and an eighth on the turf for 3-year-old fillies. Last year's winner was Pin Up Betty at odds of 6-1. First hitter Mike Maker with Luis Saez aboard. Nice field of 11 for the Regret Stakes. Ryan, who'd you land on?
Yeah, I love Pin Up Betty, first of all. That runner, I had her in the Regret last year. I remember.
Oh, nice.
Mike Maker, 3 diamonds, Luis Saez. Love that horse. I'm curious to hear your thoughts once we get into it, because you and I are both against Lush Lips, who's 3-1 on the morning line, coming out of the race in the Edgewood Stakes Churchill Downs weekend, along with a couple other common running lines in there. But I ended up going 2-5. I'm against that race just for a couple reasons. I think Nitrogen and Vixen are head and shoulders above the rest of this, and people are going to chase that form just because they see those common running lines. But I don't think, I think that we're in essentially a different division right now, because those two seem to just have a leg up on everybody. Nitrogen head and shoulders even above Vixen, her stablemate. So I think people are going to chase those running lines because of that, but I don't necessarily think that means they're the strongest horse, and I think that they might be overbet, specifically Lush Lips with Pratt aboard in the irons. I'm going with the number 2 along with the number 5 Classic Q, but 2 here for a good time. Brendan Walsh and Irad team up. This one just got the job done last time out in the optional claiming company in that first level. Over the course at Churchill Downs, going a mile and a 16th. Got it done really nicely, came from off the pace. 2 back, broke her maiden on the dirt, but that was an off-track effort. Came back right away to back up that effort. Has some early speed, is able to come from off of it. I just like the ability that she's going to be able to be tactical here. This is for those straight 3-year-olds, so no concerns about her running into any older ones in this one. But 2 here for a good time. Irad's going to have this one placed pretty well, I would have to imagine, with Irad being who he is. So I think here for a good time is going to present a lot of value, because I do think there's going to be a lot of attention betting-wise on your 2 favorites. And that'll take me to the number 5, your morning line favorite, Classic Q for Mark Casse and Jose Ortiz. This one I have to add on my ticket. Mark Casse seems to know exactly what he's doing with all of his 3-year-old fillies on the turf, and I don't think this one's any different. I get the vibe that maybe Vixen and Nitrogen are kind of those early developers, and Classic Q is the one that's just coming along right about now. Has never really run a bad race. I know he's finished 4th 3 times and has won the other 2. And those 2 wins have come on Lasix. Will not be running on Lasix today. However, the running style just fits. Those losses were to Vixen in 3 back, and Here Comes the Bride. 7.5 at Gulfstream Park, drew post 9, post 1, 2, and 3 that meet, had something like a 38% win percentage. So if you weren't on those first 3, in those first 3 posts, it's going to be tough to win. And then obviously the debut effort, you're always willing to excuse the debut effort because you can, always race into shape. So those subsequent 4 efforts have been really strong. I think that she can take a very logical step up here versus this group. She's fairly lightly raced, but a lot of these are. But I think her tactical ability is going to shine on Saturday. I think Jose is going to have her in a right spot. And it wouldn't surprise me to see the Ortiz brothers flying down the stretch, going 1-2 as they turn for home. But Classic Q was my top choice in here, and certainly didn't want to leave out the number 2 here for a good time.
Oh, love it. Love it. A little inside information, by the way. I started working for Mark Casse actually when I was 14. So I was hot walking there, and then that's who I worked for at Del Mar a couple of years later when I was still in high school. But Casse, just like amazing trainer, but he doesn't really care too much about winning first time out. Like, it's just like all about it's an example, a test to see what he's got. So I definitely not going to knock a Casse horse for not winning first time out. And I also landed on the 5 as well. This horse looks really, really good. I hate to pick favorites, but here we are, 3-year-old Classic Empire filly. Last time out in that allowance race, going a mile on the turf at Churchill was just so ultra impressive. I laid 4th on the rail, 6 lengths off the pace for most of the race. On the final turn, he just turned on the jets, with just flying to win by 4 3/4 lengths and set a track record that day, going a mile in 1:32.91. So just full of run, and galloped out really, really nicely as well. The Gallop Out, check that out on YouTube.
Good plug, thank
you. But I don't know. It earned a 107 for that performance, Equibase Speed Figure meeting. But Spilly has either finished 1st or 4th in every start of her life, posting 2 wins and 3 4th-place finishes from 5 career starts. Like you said, finishing 4th in that career debut, not a big deal, especially as a 2-year-old. Comes back to win by 4.5 lengths in her 2nd start in main special weight, going a mile on the turf. Earns an 88 Equibase Speed Figure at Gulfstream. Then goes straight in that grade 3. Here Comes a Bride, going a mile on the turf. Finishes 4th, but just half a length of Vixen, who we were just talking about, earning a 101 Equibase Speed Figure. She repeats that 101 and 4th place finish next time out in the Sanibel, going 7.5 lengths on the turf. Very odd distance, that is. Then runs off, setting the track record at Churchill, 2-turn miles. So this filly's ranked 1st in middle pace, 1st in late pace of a 106.5, 1st in average with a average speed with a 93 or a 94, and 1st in average class with a 93. So like I said, over the past year, horses with the highest late pace rating and the highest equibase speed figure win at 23% in turf routes, 3,161 starts. But here's my favorite stat. Over the past year, Cassie and Ortiz are winning at 62% in turf routes at Churchill. 8 wins from 13 starts, plus 92% return on investment and consecutive increasing equibase speed figures in every start of her life. I think this filly's the real deal. Honestly, I would single, but I don't have to, so we won't. Anyway, underneath, I added in the 8-tier Fion, a morning line of 4-1, a twirling candy filly for the Brad Cox barn with Florent Giroux aboard. Finished second on career debut, going a mile on the turf in a main special weight at Horseshoe Indy. Broke her maiden by 4.5 lengths. Her next start in main special weight, going a mile and 16th on the turf at Fairgrounds, earning an 81. Could be a speed figure. Makes it 2 in a row next start out, winning an allowance optional claimer 100,000 by a length and a half at Fairgrounds. Again at a mile and 16th on the turf, earning 86. Equibase speed figure. Makes it 3 in a row next start, winning the Allen Black Cat Lacombe Memorial Stakes. That's a mouthful. By 1 1/4 lengths. Again, going a mile and 16th on the dirt. And then runs third in the Grade 2 Appalachian Stakes, going just 1 mile, earning a career best 102. She lost to Mark Cassie's Nitrogen and Vixen, who beat about everybody in here. But I think this stretch out is a perfect thing for her. She's a much easier company today without Nitrogen or Vixen in here. Got consecutive increasing equibase speed figures at every start of her life, only getting better and better. Ranks second in late pace rating with a 100.5 to Classic Q. Ranks second in average speed with an 85 to Classic Q. In the past 3 years, Cox and Drew win at 33% in graded stakes races at Churchill. 11 wins from 33 starts and 64% in the money. A positive 2% return on investment. So just going to add her on there, but I think Classic Q is going to run off with it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I like the pick of Fion, though. That the Appalachian race, specifically, I know I was talking earlier about the Edgewood Stakes and how I'm against the Nitrogen and Vixen kind of run lines there. But in the Appalachian specifically, Fion had the trip that you didn't want and still ran really well. She came about 6-7 wide at the top of the stretch, while Nitrogen saved all the ground, Vixen saved all the ground, and still was a very respectable third behind those two kind of runaway winners. Has had a little bit of time to kind of freshen up. Now comes in. So I'm with you. I would say my third choice in here would be Fion. If I went 3 deep in this leg, I like that pick of the 8.
Well, can you add that in?
I think I could.
I think I could. Yeah. But there you go. Could be an interesting one. Yeah, I mean, I was there that day and she was closing, but she honestly was just never going to beat Nitrogen or Vixen. Right. But she was definitely the best of the rest of that field. So give her that. But anyway, so Ryan's pick 3 ticket is 249 with 38 with 25, and mine is 6985 with 87 with 58. Ryan, thank you so much for the time. Love the picks and the handicap, and keep up the good work on the Saturday show. Everybody, please check that out. America'sBestRacing.net every Saturday, 12 p.m. PT, 3 p.m. ET. Good luck, everybody, in all of your wagers this weekend. We'll see you next week.
Appreciate it.